Well, I think it's fine. Building jumbo planes. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. It's hard to get by just upon a smile. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Allah, there's only one God and Muhammad is his messenger. Allah, la ilaha illallah. Allah, there's only one God and Jesus was his messenger. Allah, la ilaha illallah.
Yusuf, Islam. Welcome.
Thank you.
And welcome back to Dublin.
We'll see what happens this time, shall we?
Let's keep an eye on the crowd, shall we?
Yes.
What happened in the O2 in your recent concert, Yusuf?
What was the first concert after... Well, no, I'd been doing smaller concerts, but this was the first real big sort of launch of a concert, and a tour, in fact.
Yes.
After 33 years. So it was a very, it was a very exciting moment. And I thought I had a great, show lined up. In fact, I've been working on, as you know, you've heard about my musical. I thought, well, nobody's done this before. So then, and then we began, and it was great. But the problem was we had the musical sort of, section in the middle.
And what is the musical section? What was that?
It was, I've been writing a musical for the last, 7 years.
Based on your own music?
Yeah, and it's called Moonshadow.
Yes.
So, and new songs, but many old songs as well, and a great story. So that was what I was kind of trying to, present and introduce, if you like, to everybody within my show. And I think that some people didn't read the small print, or they'd never kind of listened carefully enough to what we were going to do, and maybe it wasn't clear enough or whatever, but there was a surprise in the middle where, when that happened, we had a few little friendly fellows up there who started kind of heckling, and I went, God, I've never had this before.
Yeah.
And but then, and I was really a bit sad for the cast, but in a way it was a kind of a compliment and a slap of the face at the same time, because the compliment was they wanted me there.
Yes.
But when I wasn't there, they said, we don't like it.
And what were they heckling? What were they saying?
Well, I can't remember. I couldn't hear it that well, but it was kind of, blues and the things like that. And we want cat, sing that whatever,
It's not the hit that they wanted.
Kind of words which I don't normally...
Oh, they were cursing as well from the seats. And did you? You were off stage at that point.
Yeah, I was watching, from the side, from the wings.
So you could see it getting a little ugly, so to speak.
Yeah, but I said, well, this is like, this is reality, and I'm ready for reality, So, but it was great because after we came back, it was 95%. You're talking about a very, a minute amount, but I respect everybody, and everybody's got a right to, to their opinion, but it's just that I wasn't quite ready for that, and especially the cast wasn't ready for that. Yeah. When we came back, we really gave as much as we could, and everybody loved it. Yeah.
And were you upset by the reception? I mean, did you think, for example, you wrote in your blog then a few days later that you felt that maybe a few too many pints had been consumed?
Yeah. I mean, people are. You're notorious for that, aren't you? I mean, that's
well, there is a reputation that precedes us,
especially on a day with kind of a rugby match,
right?
Perhaps those kind of things have happened to me before.
Yeah.
When it coincides with a kind of another big event,
yes,
and people are kind of in another world a little bit.
Yes.
It's fine. But I love Ireland. I'm back.
It hasn't put you off coming here, obviously.
No. And if I'd done something wrong, you wouldn't see the criminal returning to the scene of the crime.
Yeah,
so I'm not.
I'm
not guilty.
Yeah, you're not here to. It was 33 years roughly you've been off the scene from playing.
Yeah, 33 years. Yeah, that's right.
Why did you give it up in the first place?
To be honest, I'd been sort of like not Michael Jackson, because he was in it very early, much earlier on than I was. But I'd never really had another job apart from the one in my father's restaurant in London.
Yes.
And I wanted to get out of that as quickly as possible. So anyway, music was my first career, my first choice. And I made it, you know, by the age of 18. So from 18, I was in music, you know, all my life. But some serious things happened to me. For instance, I contracted tuberculosis after 1 year of my, you know, inoculation of stardom. And then I began to think about life much more seriously, because I could have died, you know, I was very close to it. That's what they say. So, and that's where I started to think about the big picture, and that's where my music changed. I grew a beard, and I wore what I normally wear, you know, like jeans, and I just became myself.
Was there a time that you did the rock and roll thing? I mean, did you let loose and go mad and do all the things that young fellas do when they're in the middle of all of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, now today you're going to be seeing someone who's probably going through this very thing, you know, Mr. Bublé.
Mr. Bublé, yes, yeah.
Okay, so he's going through all the kind of things which I've been through. I said, thank God it's him,
Which is what?
Well, I kind of think that you lose your sense of balance in some way, that when you're the centre of attention and everybody's tearing at, you know, for a piece of you, you know, it becomes very, very dislodging for your balance and for your personality. Perhaps you have to find yourself again, because you may be to others, you know, something else than you are, and that's difficult.
And was there a moment then when God came into your life and you thought, that's it, I'm going to go dedicate myself to God at this point, or was it a gradual scenario?
Oh, it was very gradual. I mean, well, it was like it's like a sunrise. You know, it just doesn't happen like that. You see, there's a change, something you perceive, and I've always had belief in God. I mean, I've always felt that it was God's hand was saving me from this or that, or whatever it was a problem, or you know, I felt as if I was being helped.
Yes.
I went to Roman Catholic school, for instance, you know, and we used to, and the fear of God is also introduced, you know, at that point. But that didn't hurt. That was good. And morality is that thing which I learned very early on, and that's why I'm a supporter of, you know, faith schools, because at least that's imbued in the education.
And how did the family respond when you decided to go with Islam as their religion of choice? I mean, were they surprised? Were they shocked? Were they?
A little bit, because, you know, my father was a Greek Cypriot, and so therefore, you know, the permanent enemies, rather, are the Turks, and they were Muslim. See, so therefore, I had to go through a whole lot of prejudices, or, you know, break through these prejudices. But Dad, amazingly, he came from Cyprus. He was a Greek Cypriot. He left Cyprus. He went to Egypt. That was his first port of call when he was a young man. So he actually knew Arabic, you know, before I did. He used to say "Salaam alaikum," you know, in the restaurant to the Arabs when we were coming in for tea or whatever. And so when I became a Muslim, he actually he understood, and that was beautiful. And he was one of the first people to call me Yusuf.
Which must have meant a lot to you, because it was significant for a father to do that for his son.
Well, he gave me my name.
Yeah.
You know, and so for him, and he was actually, you know, on his deathbed. And so for him to do that, it was real.
Yeah.
And so, and that's who I am.
Do you think that in the last 10 years or so, particularly since 9/11, that Islam is extremely misunderstood in the West?
Not only since 9/11.
Before then again?
Before then, of course, because, you know, there's a history, and that history is based a lot on, again, the misreading, or this dislodgement of facts, reality, and imagination, and rumours, and whatever. If you look at, well, what I discovered when I started to read about Islam in the English language, so I could understand it, was something so similar to what I believed deep down. One God, you know, and the prophets and the messengers of God, Abraham being one of the most important figures mentioned in the Quran. This is the religion of Abraham.
Yes.
Islam is mentioned in the Quran. You've got Moses, Jesus, and all prophets, in a way, stemming from and branching out from Abraham. Well, I was discovering something that a lot of people don't know about today.